Our niche was trying to earn the right to help our customers solve their problems. It takes a long time in order to earn that right. So we spent a lot of time studying our potential customers, our clients. We spent a lot of time sitting down and understanding what their problems were. A lot of time analyzing their annual reports, so that when we went in, we had a good idea of what the objectives were for the potential client, but also where we would fit in. And in many cases, when you do that initially, we would sometimes say, we don't fit in right now, but we want the right to fit in down the road. Mm-hmm. So our philosophy and business plan was to build something.
Jim, welcome.
Thank you, Sam. Good to be here.
As I mentioned before, just very interested in general, the topic here is leadership and your life story as it applies to leaders, leadership, kind of things that you hold to be important, whether we're referring to individuals that other people may know from history or from, kind of the news or whatever, or just people that are very personal in your life that, made a big impact on you. So, the first thing I ever heard about you was that you were identified in Fortune magazine as the world's best salesperson.
Well, that would be nice, but it was the top salespeople in America.
Top salespeople in America. So you were
I was one of.
So how many were there?
There were 10 or 12, but what was really cool about that is that Fortune magazine and the author of the article picked IBM. And when they went to see some of IBM's accounts, they were saying, hey, IBM are order takers, the salesmen there. And so any IBM guy, don't get upset with that, but the guys that are truly selling, listening, and helping solve some problems are these salespeople from Comdisco, and in particular, this guy, Jim Duncan. And that's how it came about.
Your business model at Comdisco, describe that. Like IBM was over here, your customers were over here, and you guys were kind of in the middle, sort of.
Right. Yeah. You have to go back a little bit, flashback in time where computers weren't readily available. So there was a real commodity market, in particularly with mainframe computers, as they were known at the time. And our niche was trying to earn the right to help our customers solve their problems from a financial standpoint and from a market standpoint. Is this the correct time to buy a certain computer? Should I wait? Should I go with the previous generation of computers? Will that meet our needs? And so it takes a long time in order to earn that right. So we spent a lot of time studying our potential customers, our clients. We spent a lot of time sitting down and understanding what their problems were. A lot of time analyzing their annual reports, so that when we went in, we had a good idea of what the objectives were for the potential client, but also where we would fit in. And in many cases, when you do that initially, we would sometimes say, we don't fit in right now, but we want the right to fit in down the road, because you're going in a different direction. So our philosophy and business plan was to build something. It wasn't trying to get transactions in the moment, although we needed it to pay the bills. But every time I spoke to our founder and CEO, his first question is, what are you building? Where will they be 5 years from now? And I've read a lot of the things that you've done, and I think it falls into place with what our CEO did and founder without knowing relational selling, okay? His name was Ken Patika. So Ken, every once in a while, on a surprise call, would say, all right, Jim, what are you working on? And I thought he was testing me, but he wasn't, because he already trusted me. He was calling me to gain knowledge. And that's how he managed the company, based on the knowledge that he got from salespeople that he thoroughly trusted. And that's how we determined where markets were going, the information that we were able to supply back to him. So here's the founder, builds this company from $5,000, and when I left, we were $4 billion in sales. Not that I did it, but our team did it. But Ken laid that foundation by allowing that knowledge that we had and the respect that we had, the knowledge, to flow up to him. Mm-hmm. So many times we think leadership is here, I'll tell you how to do it. And I did that, right, until I learned. But Ken set the example of that it came from the bottom up, not necessarily the top down.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like too, like when you would go in to see a customer, we were joking about it last week, really like, forward-seeking questioning technique on the part of salespeople, like in the 90s even, was going to a customer saying, what keeps you up at night? Right. That's somehow, was supposed to communicate, that I'm not here to just beat you over the head with features and benefits. Now, today, it's sort of like salespeople. People just, what keeps me up at night? Salespeople asking me the question, what keeps me up at night? That's what keeps me up at night. But if you don't do the kind of due diligence that it sounds like you guys were doing back in the 80s or whenever, like you're pouring through reports, you're kind of doing all of this, investigative consulting, if you will, before you're showing up to a customer, but you're driving that discussion. So you're not walking through the door saying, tell me what's going on. You're walking through the door saying, looks like this is what's going on. Here's what our solution could do for you.
Sometimes it took a couple of years to get there, right?
Yeah.
So we spoke about a lot, we're planting seeds in order to influence the criteria that a decision was going to be made on. If we could line up what our benefits were, our strengths were, as criteria for their decision, then we were in a better position to do it. And that's not done overnight.
Yeah.
I mean, that's done by listening, by showing up, being there, coming in when you know there isn't a transaction for you to help out, and knowing the customer very, very well. I guarantee you, across our company, our sales force, our customers knew the names of our children, knew where we went to school, and vice versa. We knew everything about them. So it was a really strong relation that people could count on. Mm-hmm. And it was such that it wasn't always, yes, we can do this. Or the customer saying, yeah, you're going to get every transaction we ever do. It was earning the right to play the game, earning the right to be in the game, to be invited in as someone that they could count on to drive a solution. There was an account that was in the middle of a number of customers geographically in Manhattan. And they would call me in for advice like once a quarter. Well, this goes on for 3 years without not $1 of business. But I had a great relationship with this guy. His son was a concert pianist, and his son would play at the Carnegie Hall. He'd play over at various venues in New York. And we'd go sometimes. Well, one day I came in and there was, probably $20 million of invoices on his desk. So we were gonna buy his installed base and lease it back to him. And he pushed them over to me and he said, we trust you. We trust your company. We're ready to do this transaction. Give us a fair price. And they were customers till the day I left.
Yeah, so it took 3 years.
3 years to get to that point.
Yeah. There is undoubtedly a question or two that you would have asked yourself that I didn't ask you.
I was just curious if you wonder why I'm such a better golfer than you.
No, I don't, because
well,
it has to do with the fact that you play a lot more.
No, it could be that you've never seen your swing on film. Perhaps if you did that, you would understand what I see.
No, I don't want to be, I shouldn't be doing that. No. Well, anyway.
All right, Chief.
Thank you.